What up, though, world? It's your girl, Shirley Pearl, back with another video on the Real Housewives of Atlanta, season 17, episode 5. And the name of this episode is Dynasty Divas in Atlanta. Everything I say is alleged, strictly my opinion for entertainment. And we're going to talk about it, though. Some people going to be mad, but we're going to talk about it. Okay. So the episode starts with Cynthia and Phaedra. They're meeting with, ironically, Adrienne Maloof, who was a former Real Housewife of Beverly Hills wife. She was married to like a plastic surgeon named Paul. They used to bicker back and forth, and they ain't even together no more. He remarried and everything, but she is from the Real Housewives franchise. And I used to watch them because I really felt like they had it. They really, really had it. They weren't faking with it, like Lisa Vanderpump on real upscale restaurants in Beverly Hills. Adrienne Maloof is owner of the Sacramento Kings basketball team and the various other things. So I really watched them because they really had the wealth and the extravagant lifestyles that these other women try to portray. And then they don't really got it like that. But anywho, so I guess she's has a tequila line, and I don't know if she wants Cynthia to be the face of it or they're partnering. I don't really get what, maybe Cynthia the face. She is Miss Cheekbone model, but yeah, so they're meeting. But my only question is, what Phaedra doing there? I know she's not there for contractual purposes because do Phaedra even practice law? Okay. So, anyway, they they talk about that they're going on a trip because Dallas is the hub or where the market is very good for. So Cynthia's gonna be planning a girls trip to Dallas with all the girls with a dynasty theme. And the only thing I can remember about dynasty when you talk about the real pretty black lady, chocolate black lady, Diane Carroll, and she said, "Which one of you bitches is my mother?" I think that's dynasty. And just saying that on national TV, I was a kid, it was just all the rave, like what? But yeah. Anywho, so they wind up wrap that meeting up with Adrian. And the next scene they're gonna be meeting at the airport. So you got people like Hey Michelle saying she's never been on a girls trip. Well, here's the thing, Michelle. You don't seem like a girl's girl at all. Name 5 of your friends. Hurry up. 5 friends. And not nobody in TV, not these people then grew with you or whatever. I don't think you can. But anyway, that's a story for another day. So Pinky, they're all supposed to be dressed in this dynasty thing, but ain't nobody really dressed. K Michelle covered up. Um, I don't know what she got on. It wasn't cute. Phaedra looked like a dominatrix. Angela, she looked nice, a little cream, little short skirt and whatever. It's not dynasty. Um, Pinky dressed like Hillary Clinton. Boxy suit. Um, so is Cynthia, who thought of the thing. Portia got on a move something cream dress with a cowboy hat. I ain't really giving Dynasty with that either. But Drew got on some aloe, and I'm like, so she's got on athleisure wear in a charade voice, but then nobody. A lot of them hadn't heard of Dynasty. What's the Shameena? She got on some Prada stuff. She gonna do some name brands. Following behind Portia. So yeah, they get on a plane. And it's a private jet, and Pinky does this long, long prayer, you know, that she didn't even stand by. So, Kelly asks, she asked Angela, so how are your properties? And she know them properties gone, but that's just the shadiness and Kelly miserable ass. And Pinky kind of chimes in like, yeah, because again, talking about her bankruptcy and that she doesn't have, she doesn't pay herself, and on paper it doesn't show she has any money. Just all this explanation, girl, trying to get ahead of the story. Don't nobody care. We watch this, we don't want to see nobody that's living like us. I don't think that's the goal. I think the goal is extravagant lifestyles, or make a way out of no way, or I don't know, but it ain't what you giving, baby. We all of us know somebody who didn't file bankruptcy, or we didn't file. So that's just like broke problems. So anywho, so um she talks about, Angela lets it be known, I lost 2 million on my own money. I don't owe nobody, so it's not like what you said, Pinky, in the last week episode about owing 5 million and your husband got it, so but you still filed. Okay, don't forget that. And she's always throwing this $100 million business out. Girl, just stop. Stop it. It's like you came on here for some income, and you're trying to get ahead of the story or some exposure to your vegan business. I mean, I know people that's just gonna eat meat until the damn day they die. They ain't trying to go that way or whatever. I don't know. I don't live in Atlanta. I don't know about the popularity of it in Atlanta, but they eat meat until they die. Throw a bone in a casket, okay? But you know, I'm just tired of it. So they get to talking. um Somebody asked K Michelle about her husband, and which I thought was a very personal question. They asked, did she have a prenup? And she was like, no, we don't have a prenup. But let me just say this, who got more assets? I mean, I don't know how well. I know you was in Detroit a few weeks ago. I know you touring now or whatever. I don't know how your money looking, but if your money is more than his as a dentist, then I wouldn't sign no damn prenup anyway. These men is getting women to take care of them lately. So, girl, you might be boiling backwards if it don't work out. Then he got to come to Atlanta and restart his practice, get the new clients and all of that, girl. You saying that's like it's a flex. And then you like he don't have a social media. You believe all men cheat, and you believe that he cheat, or let me back it up. You don't believe You believe all men cheat, but you be like he can be slick because he don't have a social media. Girl, we need to see you on here in a couple of years and see if your marriage weathers the storm based on what you're saying and the insecurity problem you have. Let me just throw that in. So, on the bus ride, so they arrived in Dallas and they got a Sprinter van. And the Sprinter van, it must be a little ways to the room. So everybody, in their confessionals has something to say. So on the ride, they asked Drew, they was like, how was your date? And she was like, oh, he gave me 200 long stem roses. We didn't kiss or nothing. We already know that's for legal purposes, because you probably wasn't all the way divorced from Ralph. And I don't even know if you are now. And I don't even care. But we're tied. We're tied. Did Ty get a kiss? Oh, I'm sorry. So, while she talking about Black, it basically pans back to K Michelle when she said that he be in her DMs saying she's so pretty and this, that, and the other. Well, you know what, K Michelle, you should have put it on the floor right then and there. She should not have to watch the episode to find out that he was in your DM. I don't think he with her like that anyway, and that's the way she's presented it. Like they not together like that anyway. Somebody give you 200 stem roses and you can't do a peck. Girl, bye. Just bye. And so that was your opportunity. We're gonna stop these confessional gangsters and go and put it on the floor if you bought that life. That's what I feel. So they stop at a gas station. And when I say Shameena, you might have grew up with a little bit of you said they owned a trucking company. I guess your mama owned the daycare that she took from Portia, allegedly. But you know what I'm saying? It sounds like, based on what you're saying, past and present, is that you probably grew up like upper middle class, like y'all had some little coins in the bank, but you didn't have that factor that you could come in and stop the whole room like Portia. And I think with all your accolades, with all the money that your family had, and even this man that don't want to be filmed, this African, and I'm sorry, he not nobody that nobody would aspire to be with. Like if you're gonna go African, baby, or from another country, you should have been looking for the Idris Elbas and the Damson Idris of the world. That man and you don't look like y'all got no more in common than you and the man in the moon. I'm sorry, baby. I'm sorry. You know how you look at couples and be like, that's a nice looking couple. She's cute, he's handsome. You ain't never heard that and ain't gonna hear it. But that's just my opinion, girl. My opinion. But that money probably make them look real handsome to you. So she talks about her parents owned a trucking company and they had to use the bathroom at the gas station. She gonna do a squat motion. It just looks so low class and uncouth. Like you pee in the cup and then girl, you don't have to illustrate it, stank ass. That shit is stank what you did, girl. Ugh. And with all the little coins y'all had, it didn't teach no damn class. I just thought it looked nasty. So, yeah. And of course, Pinky wanna be in with that side of the crew. Is like, girl, you doing that? You peeing in a cup? You got Versace walls, uh-huh. Yeah, whatever, girl. You ain't nothing but one of those hanger-ons trying to, you ain't accepted by Portia, so you trying to go the other way. But anyway, so they get in the Sprinter and they make it to the location. And they're greeted by the owner of the estate. It looks like a beautiful estate. It has a whole bunch of acres. It's got a pool house. It's got a tiny house. It's got the main house. So the lady that meets them is named Bradina, and I hate that because if your daddy name was Brad, he should have had a boy. Throwing that on your name was ugly. So they got a nice spread laid out. It looks really beautiful. Like I think, you know, it was just acres on acres. So, it was nice. So they had the main house, they have a tiny house, and they had a pool house. So they walking around touring, everybody on and ah. K Michelle said the pool house is way smaller than the main house. And if they put her in that, she gonna go to the nearest hotel. I know you will. You should have just went anyway, just in case you had some leakage or something like that, from whatever your enhancements. So yeah, they can get that. But anywho, I'm gonna say this right now. I'm gonna just throw it in, and I'm gonna keep it moving because I want to try to keep this under 30 minutes. But I have to put my opinion. Hey Michelle, you don't seem like you would do well with an all girl ensemble because you're not a girl's girl, and you coming in hot, on something that like when you cleared that up with Portia, that shit should have been dead in the water. And now you done threw Phaedra in it because you're looking at them as a set instead of individual. Like you just in set and binge watch the shows, and now you ready to go at whoever been there the longest. Whoever, I mean, is you gonna get into it with Cynthia too, girl? I don't know. So They just had to pick the rooms. Cynthia is telling them what rooms they gonna have. She was like, this person seems like they want solitude or whatever. So she give Pinky the tiny house, which only has one bedroom and has all these other little things. Like a little house. I would have liked it. I mean, you probably would have been lonely without nobody to kick it with at night. Cause I can't even go to sleep in hotels real good because people are walking in the hallway, or anything I hear is not home. But I don't know. She put her by herself. They at least should have had like a pull-out bed or whatever. But anywho, then the pool house has like 2 bedrooms, a kitchen, pool. It looks nice. So she said, I'm gonna give this to the people that's really, really close, thick and thin people. And she gives it to Shameena and Kelly, the best friends, whatever. So they looking like, wow, I got the worst end of the deal. So, um, yeah, they ain't too happy with it, but um, hey, so Kelly is talking about the bed is just as small as her twins' bed, and different things, just picking it apart. Then they find some little dirt on the sheet or whatever, which they probably put or whatever. They talk about the room is nasty or whatever. So Shamia on the phone with her husband that don't want to be on the show because he got enough money where she don't even need this shit apparently, and she's showing him the stains on the bed and, telling him, he tell her he'll call her back in 2 minutes. Girl, you know what, Shameena? And I might be wrong. Let me put my allegedly up. But it seemed like you in a marriage of convenience. And it's loveless. Like he loved you, but it ain't loveless. Because baby, all you do at your big old age, you ain't in your 30s, you in your mid 40s, which ain't nothing but a damn stair step away from 50. And you so revealing, so exotic dressing, like you vying for attention. And you dress like that. I see your Instagram when it ain't just cause the show on, and you got 2 small daughters, baby, trying to have another one. And I just feel like, girl, if somebody else come along and they bag bigger, you would be gone from that man. You would. Okay. So anyway, and that's just my opinion. I don't give a damn how you feel about it. So yeah. We're gonna skip all the way, all that other little shit. It don't matter. We're gonna skip to the dinner. So Cynthia has dinner for the ladies playing, and at the main house. So the first people that show up is Portia and Pinky. And Pinky lets it known to Portia, lets it be known that K Michelle ain't coming because K Michelle don't have her glam. Kelly and Shameena ain't coming because they don't even want to take a shower, saying the whole room was dirty and this, that, and the other. So, they ain't joining them for dinner. So Cynthia comes in and she advises that she talked to him and she reached out to the person, whoever that Brad Dina, whoever the owner. I'm sure they can get a cleaning crew up in there and get it all together, get fresh linen, get the floors mopped, shower bust down, everything. So they couldn't understand why K Michelle wasn't coming. So they flashed back to the room. K Michelle got her little whiskey. She in the room with them. So K Michelle has chosen a side. We know that. She has chosen a side. And she drinking with them. Kelly gets all emotional talking about this husband that she chose. And you chose him, Kelly. And one thing, you're so mean and nasty and funky to Portia, but you really need to pray for discernment over your next man. Because how you had 3 kids with this man, marry him, want to talk about these 11 years, and everybody know in a divorce, you divide by half. So if it was 11 years, y'all was breaking up for 5.5 years, you was having problems. And just the disdain he has for you. And you're the mother of his child. That's what you need to pray for discernment over while you being nasty, because it seems like misdirected anger, and you're acting like you and Shamia is the best friends. Come here, Shamia. I'm at your door. Let me in. Put a pot of tea on. If your whole thing is to one up Portia, baby, then you got to get somebody real fantastic, look wise, portfolio wise, all the things that y'all dream of. Like Portia has a it factor. You know, you got the husband, the money, the house, and whatever else you got. That person need to have double all of that for you to make Portia jealous. You up here pandering in an alleged like we on Survivor making alliances so you can continue to have somebody to record with. But Kelly ain't no nothing or nobody aspires to have what she has and be in her predicament. So it's falling super flat. Okay. So it pans back to the ladies at the table, and they basically saying that talking about all the ladies and wondering why K Michelle ain't coming. And K Michelle made a comment like she don't know how to do makeup, she don't know how to put a curl in her hair. But girl, you want a daughter. So if your money just gonna be up where you gonna outsource her hair and all that, girl, you better learn. You ain't never do no little braids in your son hair. And they all there in a relaxed setting. Who is you trying to impress? The cameraman? Girl, will you go somewhere? So in the midst of everything, Pinky basically acts like she's the spokesperson for Shameena and Kelly. And it's coming across a little aggressive. Like she's like, well, I bonded with them, so I go hard for my friends. And they're like, girl, but you just seem angry for no reason. And Cynthia, 50 Cent, she basically like, I don't want to hear no more about this shit unless it's, I'm getting it clean. That's all I can do. End of story. So, we're gonna get to the meat and potatoes of the episode. So basically, Pinky asks Cynthia, what was the reasoning? How did they get that room? Because they felt like freaking frack, which is Phaedra and Portia should have got the room because they whack. So now y'all name calling. Shameena, you seem butthurt that you ain't in with Portia. And like, if this stemmed from she didn't congratulate you last year from getting on the show, she didn't advocate for you getting on the show, it seemed deeper than that, baby. It really do. It seemed deeper than that. You know what I'm saying? Because you're supposed to show your life. You got a man who won't even do a 5-minute call with you, a call. He don't want to show. He's uncomfortable looking when the camera shows up. So maybe your best friend from childhood knew all that and you wasn't a good fit. Not that it would have been Portia's choice, but maybe this is her job. And then here you, her friend who already got everything, come to her job. And maybe she ain't like it. And I ain't saying that's right, but I mean, girl, it just seemed deeper. It seemed deeply rooted than that. And you let some newbies, some broke ass newbies at that, allegedly, get in your ear about it and flip it, girl, bye. You were never a friend to her. You was just waiting on your opportunity. And Portia didn't like the fact that they calling them whack and this, that, and the other. And basically, Phaedra's like, well, yeah, we're Don Perignon, me and Portia, and they Andre Champagne, Ren and Stimpy, they whack. So they flash back to Pinky and Shameena and Kelly, and she's asking them questions so she can run it back about the room. So Angela also goes over to their room and she's asking, do you feel like it was on purpose? Because that's the energy you're giving. That's what Angela asks Pinky. And Pinky is like, well, I did originally. And they was like, because they sent some hostility from you. So Pinky says, no, I don't have a problem with Cynthia. I love Cynthia. And Angela saying like, but you're almost attacking us about some rooms that we ain't even picked. So they go back and forth a little bit, and she doesn't cut at Cynthia, but she's still knocking it. And Portia's like, it's like you done bought the problem, and now you hammering your point in. And she's like, this is an absolutely beautiful house. You did an amazing job, Cynthia. The sprinter, everything was good. So if it's something just that needs to be cleaned up, then okay, fine. So Drew asked Portia, have her and Kelly spoken? And she was like, nah, I sent her some flowers for her event. Then they flashed back to where Kelly was like, broken flowers from a broken person or something. High posting in front of the other girls, because Portia will step on you, boo boo. So she's like, so Pinky again advocating for the crew she with. Well, didn't you say she slept with a married man? And Portia said, yeah, that's true. That's called standing in it. And she was like, well, two wrongs don't make a right. That's what Pinky said. So Angela says she don't understand, about wanting somebody's husband. So she was like, I'm married. I take marriage seriously. I value my vows. So they flash back to when Portia said something about she should F Charles Oakley. And that's probably, you got to give her that, Portia. You did say it. You're going to have to keep that back. If you say that, even if it's a reality show, given, how it is, Portia, then they going to constantly bring that up. So, and in the confessional, Phaedra basically said that she was warned about so Portia actually, excuse me, she basically deflects from that Kelly and the married man, and she says, so what's up? Are you and Phaedra okay? So they bring up the fact that they're trying to say that Phaedra says she eats meat. They keep flashing back to Phaedra on the phone with Shameena, saying that she owned a Jamaican restaurant and they serve meat. The actual words of she ate meat or anything never came up. Then you have Kelly saying, yeah, she I saw her eating a steak. So your girl that you advocating so hard for is the one that's playing with your business and your money. So Cynthia goes over to see Shameena and Kelly, lets them know that somebody is coming to clean the room. Shameena says, yeah, because you wouldn't do this intentionally. That was her asking you a question. And to me, I feel like she was playing with your top. Okay? Like, bitch, what? Me and you ain't got no problem. Why would I just put you in a dirty room? For ratings? Girl, bye. Shameena, you want to be given what Portia's be given all the time. And that's your problem, boo. So basically, Pinky, they paying back to the girls at the main house. And Pinky is saying, well, it's a house divided. And Portia said, yeah, it's giving a house divided. And she looks at Angela. Angela has this look on her face. And Pinky says, she said, why you looking like that? And Pinky says, say it with your chest. And I'm just thinking that continuous aggression keeps coming. And she says, Pinky, you just feel like you're sitting on ready. You seem bothered. Pinky immediately takes it to appearance. I can never be bothered from you from head to toe. That's not what she's saying you bothered about, which she lets her know, girl, you speaking on your own insecurities, And she was like, it gets really, really nasty. She's like, basically, you can never make me insecure. You don't have nothing to make me insecure. So she calls Angela. She was like, I got on some heels. I'm just as tall as you, bitch. And everybody like, bitch. And she was like, yeah. She was like, well, that's a term of endearment. And she was like, girl, you just doing too much. You seeming bothered. Pinky was like, well, I'm a bad bitch. And Angela says, well, a bad bitch that don't pay her bills. And Pinky tells her, you can never touch the money I touch. That sounds like past tense. That's like saying somebody who lived in the projects who now live on the riverfront in a damn mansion. But you used to live in the projects. That shit don't matter, baby. Look at me now. How you like me now? So that fell dead and flat. So Pinky says, I have multi-million dollar businesses. And she said, you have multi-million dollar bills too. So they going back and forth. They getting into it. Angela tells her, you owe your employees. I wouldn't be doing a fundraiser when you couldn't even get them their Christmas stuff, you know? And she was like, who do I owe? Who do I owe? Well, she did that for camera time. Let's just call it what it is. And then Pinky starts talking about her. Don't you owe on your foreclosure? Angela's like, I don't owe any money. I took a loss. And then Pinky says, I owe you a new lace front. And she said, oh, okay, Mr. Clean, Papa Smurf. Then Pinky tries to talk about Angela's teeth, talking about girl, them veneers, because I see that overbite. And Angela hits her back, girl, not the way your teeth is commingling. And incestuous teeth you got, she getting her. Pinky says, bitch, get your fan. Don't you got menopause? And Angela was like, no, it may be perimenopause, which is right before menopause, dummy. But anywho, and they just going back and forth. It's real hype. It's real hype. Y'all into it over them two having dirty rooms. You ran for some bitches you just met that hard. I'm not understanding. So basically Angela says, did you get your business back? She was like, yes, honey, cash. My husband is rich. Well, we're rich. Why is it a separation when you speak of you and your husband? So, it just got really dark. And Shameena and K Michelle and what's the other little short little hobbit? Kelly, they can hear it from the pool house. So of course they walk over to see what's going on. They probably thought it was Portia. And it's just going back and forth. And then even to add insult to injury, girl, you stand up and tell her to kiss your ass, and baby, everybody was looking at your ass in pure disgust. I'm sorry, baby, because if you want to go there with looks, Angela is by far winning this one. She is. And I ain't saying you ugly, but baby, you're not fucking with Angela. I'm sorry. And even in the argument, she tells her that your husband don't even like you. That sounds like a fan of the show. Like you read some stuff from the blogs. So, or you watched the episode. And then she tells her, yeah, what about that wife in the basement? I know that Atlanta is heavy LGBTQ, honey. And I ain't gonna say that it don't sound too far-fetched for me, just based on the aesthetics. Sorry, Pinky, but I just got you coming in hot. You coming in by episode 1 and 2 talking about bankruptcy, then you trying to tear somebody who is already here before you because you think she the weakest link. But I think Angela handled you. I think she handled you. They get to talking about credentials and she was like, yeah, you need to get some lash glue. It sound rehearsed, Reed. And she was like, yeah, the same that I helped you with earlier. Then Pinky calls Angela a hating ass bitch. So it just, it was just crazy. But when she stood up and told her to kiss her ass, and Drew, when in her confessional, said, I never seen in all my days seen a person that do a reverse walk, a Uno reverse walk off. and it wasn't even good. So back and forth, back and forth. Angela won, in my opinion, but it ended with them just walking off and trying to squash the beef and calming it down. And Angela was letting her know the bothered comment wasn't about me, that you're bothered by me. That's what I read as a person at home watching it. You're bothered by these other women that got a dirty room. Why are you so bothered? You just met them? You got a crush on one of them, girl? I don't know, but that was pretty much it. The tone came back down. I ain't really hear no apologies, but they basically brought it down from 100 to back to one. And you know, I guess they're gonna try to make it work, but K Michelle lets the ladies know they look beautiful. K Michelle never sat down, and Drew mentioned something about it. Maybe she did have surgery back there. Maybe she just can't sit like that. I don't know. I don't give a damn. K Michelle saying like she gonna be fake. She got some nice rehearsed reads, but she just saying like she gonna be fake. I'm gonna tell you like Nene, baby, you on the wrong goddamn team. So Portia basically says after I guess Pinky left with K Michelle, Shameena, and Kelly, she was like, man, y'all took it to hell. And Angela lets her know, yeah, I'm gonna jump on her back and go to hell with her. It's tickets for two. And so I don't blame you, girl. Don't let nobody try to come and talk crap to you. Cynthia says it was a dinner for hell. And her prayer is Shamia and Kelly get their room clean and they leave her alone about a dirty room and Pinky. And that was the episode. So it was pretty good. I think it escalated. Ain't no way in hell I'm gonna be swinging and bucking for some other hoes problem. And she let it be known she gonna get them her room and she gonna either share with Cynthia or K Michelle. So Pinky, baby, it wasn't hitting on nothing. But that's all I got. Ain't got no more. Like, comment, subscribe, send it out, like the video. And I'll see y'all next week. Bye bye.